bodily function. It was just where you had to stay. And then every now and then they would get you out in chains normally, and they have you dance on the ship. And a lot of times it was for their entertainment too. But that was to give them to exercise and whatever. But if you can imagine being laid in a ship, in a boat like this, for all those months, it was unbearable. We even had pregnant women that were captured. So some of them didn't want this life so much, or they did not want their child to endure this, that they actually jumped ship to their grave. So that's what they know. She would not endure and jump ship to their grave. Once arriving, she was sent to the auction block, and the white man bellowed, "What's my bid for this nice lifestyle?" Stripped of her clothing and dismissed with her promise, holding on to her faith and faith as her God. Once arriving, all time separated from her man and sent to her prospective place, and from the very beginning, grace and disgrace. She was forced to nurse all the master's babies, but never was she to be known as lady. There's something called, I don't know if you guys know what a wet nurse is. What is it?
It's when there's another woman who's not the mother of the child who nurses her baby, and it's not her child, but she still nurses it because she's either paid to or they asked her to.
Or she's an advocate. So that's what a lot of women became wet nurses, and they couldn't really take care of their children during the day because they were like, put into the home to take care of the master's needs, and they would, nurse the babies and such. And the mother of the child, many times Southern women were supposedly very gentile and, couldn't be bothered with those kinds of things. And so actually, the black woman would actually nurse the baby. Yes.
So would they be more like nannies than?
Well, it would be like a nanny, and in some cases they might have called them mammies. So that's a very derogatory term for, to be like, that's why it's very derogatory for African Americans to see. I know you guys have seen the pancake boxes with Aunt Jemima on it, and she's got the head rag on, and that's how he renders back those times to us. But yeah, it's kind of like a nanny, but she did a lot of other things. She probably cleaned the house, she washed, she ironed, she did everything, but she didn't have the time to give to her children. So it cost them like a double bind, because after she did all of that for the master, then she would allowed to go back to her little cabin somewhere and take care of her children. Only allowed to marry if permission was given. If not forced to jump the broom instead of loving and sinning. So jumping the broom, I know you guys have all heard about that. They would have to ask the master if they could get married. If the master didn't want them to get married, if he felt it was not beneficial for him to get married, they were not allowed to get married. So what they had to do in order to feel as if this was some type of totally committed bond was they would actually have a broom. They would have a ceremony. And to, like you said, now I pronounce you man and wife, when they jumped the broom, that was the culmination of their marriage coming together. Sometimes living together, but often apart, loving strong as our emasculated men, unable to protect us, look on when beaten and raped, hence breaking our hearts. So, even though they were married, many times the slave owner would like for the man to be from another plantation, maybe a nearby location, and the wife would be at another location. And then they would get passes, hopefully maybe on a Sunday, to be able to come and see the wife and see the children and whatever. And that's how that legacy did start, beginning with the single mother and the father out of the home and all of that. And that still, like I said, does still go on. I have a poem, and I'll read it to you a little bit later. But I was listening to a documentary with Mario Van Peebles last year, and they were saying that actually 70% of children that were born out of wedlock. And it's not to blame anybody. It's just that's the situation at this point in time. Beginning this lonesome journey of going it solo, burdening our families with solitude, forced to take this undeserved and tremendous blow. Of broken families and fatherless children, retelling our traditions. placing her alone with the burden of the double bind situation. That's what it is, with the double bind, correct? As years rolled on, her pride allowed again, and not to be succumbed. She marched with her man, and also she did with our revered leader, the Reverend Martin Luther King. She later saw fit to fight and coalesce. In other words, what the word coalesce means? To work together for the benefit of for the good of both. For women's rights, with white women in protest, giving her issues a louder volume, alerting the world of her inequities and problems. But with all of these pressures, she still has her pleasures many have managed to tolerate, yet still remain angry and dwelling on hate. With hope set aside to be used as she needs, standing tall with pride, no longer shall she plead. That's another like stereotypical thing they say. Michelle Obama has been accused of being this of an angry black woman or an angry black man. So it's not always the case, but it's a stereotypical thing. Yeah, we've had some things that we need to be angry about, such as other people are too, but that's kind of like the history behind it.